springing to life unexpectedly, but other than that, it's all good.
It's all live, man.
It's the middle of June here in Oklahoma. It's certainly better than being 100 degrees or whatever.
Sure.
And Coach Hennessy knows that. I think football is always better when it's a little bit cooler.
Yeah,
in
we
my
had
opinion.
great workouts this morning. Luckily, we had a lot of basketball kids, a lot of baseball kids going today, so we were able to go one group. So we did our outside work first. We knew it was coming in, and it started raining on us right towards the end. But then we got to head to the weight room while it was pouring down, and worked out great.
Thankfully, that was brief and no hail. We decided not to do the hail dance. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the show, Coach. It's great to have you in Bartlesville, and it's really a good time, I think, at the school for so much stuff going on. But here you're in your preseason for the first time here in Bartlesville. But you've been coaching football for a long time.
Nice way to say I'm old, huh, Brad?
No.
Yeah, but you're right. Yes, I have.
I know experience is important here.
Going into year number 34. So
34.
So yeah, I've been doing it a long time. Was lucky enough to start at Jenks back in the day. And
how did you get into coaching? What?
I was pre-law all the way through college, and just because that's what everybody told me I should do. I was a 31 ACT guy. Had was a contest speech guy in high school. Did all the competitive speaking stuff. Got into that stuff, and so I said, "You need to be a lawyer." Well, that sounds like a good job. Sounds like good money. You think back then you think about money and all that, and did it and was rolling through pre-law, and I was at K-State, and I took my LSATs and scored pretty high on them and started getting acceptance letters to law schools around. I was like, yeah, okay. It was Emporia State. It was some smaller ones, and then I got the acceptance letter to Harvard Law School, and I was like, wow, this is real now.
This is real.
And I'm like, I cannot see myself wearing a suit and tie every day. I don't, I look back now, and I think parts of that could have been fun depending on which avenue I'd have gone in it, but I called my dad and said, Dad, I'm changing my major. And Dad's like, well, I thought you should have gone pre-med to start with, so that's fine. I'm like, no, I'm changing it to PE. He goes, you're doing what? I said, I'm going to be a coach. I said, it's just what I love to do. I mean, I'm still playing. I was still playing football at the time. And I said, I just can't. I'd started coaching helping with some little youth teams around in the off season and doing some things like that. And some of the classes I was having was doing some of that stuff. So I did it, and it's the best decision I made. I say, all the time, I've been doing it 34 years. I haven't been to work yet. So, I wake up every day, and I get to go to work. I don't have to go to work. And I told my dad that. I said, you're one of the hardest workers. You taught me work ethic. You taught me how to do this grind. He worked for Safeway, then Homeland, then Walmart his whole life. Started off as a bag in groceries and became a manager and, worked his way up. But I said, you wake up and you have to go to work every day. And you do it. And you taught me how to do that. You're not afraid to get up and go to work at 4 o'clock in the morning. You're not afraid to outwork everybody. But I don't want to have to go to work. And so I don't. I get to go to work, and, people ask when I'm going to retire. I've got 4 years till I can legally retire. But, whenever I wake up and have to go to work, I'm going to check it in. I'll hang my whistle up. But until then, I'm just going to keep on doing it. I'd probably just die on the sideline someday. So.
Well, it is great I love coaching. As a business owner and a manager of people, I think there's a lot of parallels.
100%.
And I know that it's the part of my job that I get the most out of. That I love to lead people and help them reach their goals and tap into what are they, because a lot of times people don't really know.
And you're hitting it right on the head. Help them direct them. Then that is the biggest joy. And I tell people all the time. Now that I've been doing this so long, when I first did, I was all about winning rings and winning trophies, and that's still our goal. We're still going to try to do that. But now our number one goal, and as I hired my staff, I've got the best staff in Oklahoma. I've never seen a high school staff like this. The school backed me 100% and said, you do what you got to do. I had guys wanting to come here. Guys bought into this community. Guys bought into our vision here. But the number one thing I was looking for, besides their playing ability and their knowledge and all that was all good. But a lot of people, that was, how much do you love kids? Why are you doing this? Do you really just want to develop kids? Because our number one goal is to develop great men. That's our number one goal in our program, is build great men. Because what I've figured out over these last long years is, if we will keep our goals and our standards and our core values and everything directed towards building great young men, we're going to win games. It goes hand in hand. And it's like you talked about, finding what direction they need to go and helping them steer that, and then helping them pull it out of them, and then holding them accountable. I mean, there's
that is the hard part in some ways. Yeah,
and you can't. I've gotten past the phase of being afraid to have the hard conversation, or being afraid to correct somebody when they're wrong, especially my coaches too. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's my coaches, my players. Matter of fact, Coach Daniels, who's been doing it a long time too, he's my defensive coordinator. We'd had a tough day on defense the day before, and I'd ripped all the defensive coaches pretty good. And I saw in his notes, I was by his desk doing something late and saw his notes when he was at a defensive staff meeting. I thought, I've never thought of this in my life, but we are here to model behavior for those young men. Learn how to take an ass chewing for you too. I don't know if I can say that on the radio, but he said
it's all right.
But he said, learn how to take that chewing out, learn how to take that correction, and take it like a man. Don't get your feelings hurt. Because we don't want our kids to. Well, we tell our kids, take in what you need, understand what we're doing.
Advice isn't. I mean, I guess it is criticism sometimes, but it's not negative. It's about being more positive and accomplishing what we're trying to do as a group. And that's the great thing about sports is you can't do it on your own. In football, you're one of 11 on that side of the line, and you've got to execute a plan of some sort. You can't just go out there and wing it. It's not gonna work very well, right?
No, absolutely. And and football is such a loud, emotional, physical sport that sometimes those corrections aren't the same way you can do it at the dealership. It's going to be loud. It's going to be in the moment. It's going to be fast. It's in a hurry. But the biggest part and the thing I'm trying to teach to my young coaches that I've learned over the years is it doesn't matter how hard you can coach them hard and you can do those things, but you got to circle back behind it with an arm around the shoulder. Hey, do you understand why I corrected you? And I think that's one of the biggest things is making sure they understand why we were correcting them, why we were fixing the problem. Make sure they understand, not which we were yelling at them just to yell at them.
Yeah.
Or what, that we, and then, I've got a rule that you can never let a kid leave the day without saying one thing positive to him.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it might just be, hey, Brad, it'll get better tomorrow. Because nothing went good that day.
My managers is, 5 positive things before you correct them. And
that's
around that, because
awesome.
The truth is, people, there's a lot of good things in people, and that's, the people who coach people naturally gravitate to people because you want to get the best out of them. You see their potential. I think that's probably true of you if you've been coaching for so long.
It is, and that's the thing is that developing those relationships. We've got some kids that aren't playing football right now because of the past, and I don't know what happened, and they're in basketball, they're in baseball, but what I did is I didn't bother them when I got here. I might give them, hey, how come you don't play football? And there's some really good athletes in other sports that aren't playing football, and so I spent more time developing relationships with their coaches, with Coach Price and with Coach Christensen, with Coach Vashis, and trying to develop relationships with these other sports coaches so they know they can trust me. I'm not going to get them in there and try to stand, not let them go back to their sport or whatever. Make sure we've got a good relationship. And then I got them to buy into Summer Pride. So now they're all making it mandatory. Their athletes are in Summer Pride with us. Well, that's all the football coaches. So I had a meeting with our staff and said, look, now our job now is develop a relationship with these kids. Don't just be hounding them every day about play football. Develop a relationship with this kid. Find out what his batting average is. Find out why he loves basketball. Find out why he's not playing football. Find out, what he likes, what he doesn't like, and then let's figure out what we can do to get them out to play football so we can.
That's probably really important in a place like Bartlesville. You don't have unlimited talent like it's. I guess at large schools like Jinx, it's kind of. It just comes with the territory. You have that reputation. You've got the winning history. It attracts people. You've got a large population there.
Well, and the transfer rule now.
Yeah.
If you've been paying attention to the new transfer rule, it's open portal, so you can transfer anywhere you want. You don't have to move anymore. Yeah. You get one free transfer. So kids are naturally transferring to Bixby and Jinx and Broken Arrow. Plus, they've got. It's not so much that. Well, one, their programs are so great. That is a piece.
Sure.
But just their location. Being right there in Tulsa, we don't have a lot of people out here by us.
Yeah,
so it's harder for a kid if they're not going to move to live in Tulsa and drive every day from Tulsa. That's a little harder. So yeah, we do have to develop our talent. And that was, when I first accepted the job and asked Thad, I said, after we'd been through, we'd sat a 4-hour interview. I said, what are you expecting out of me? What's the number one thing you want out of me? He says, we got to get our numbers up. We don't have 6A numbers. They ended with less than 40 players last year.
Yeah.
You know, and we're at 85 right now.
Awesome.
So counting our freshmen. So, you know, we'll be over 100 soon, and that's where we need to be. We need to be pushing 100, not counting freshmen. We need to be trying to have 30 per class. And that's the number we have, just because it's even when I was at Muskogee, that was a big deal at Muskogee. When I was a head coach at Muskogee, we could always match the talent. Mm-hmm. And there was no 6A2 back then. It was just 6A1. Right. So we had to beat Jinx and Union and Owasso and all those schools. And we could beat most of them until we'd get a kid hurt or get this kid dinged up. And we just didn't have the depth they did and the numbers, and that was the biggest fall off. So now 6A2's evened that a little bit, but you look at the move-ins that Choctaw's getting, being right there in the Oklahoma City area, the move-ins that Sand Springs getting, the move-ins that Stillwater's getting even. I mean, the movement in high school football right now is crazy. It's the one thing that may force me to retirement. That's why Saban got out, because the portal and the NIL and all that.
All these changes that are reaching high school football that have started.
It's all trickling down. Yes, sir. It always does.
College football and really at the NFL level also, and all major sports, and the whole NIL movement and freedom of movement at the college level has really changed things. I mean, you guys deal with the same stuff.
Yep.
Right?
Now we got it here in high school, and I hate it because there's certain times I think it's good, but my deal is, and like I said, our number one goal is create great men. Well, if you're having a hard time and everything's not going perfect with your wife, you don't just bail and go find another wife. Yeah. If your job's not perfect, you don't just say, well, I'm just going to find another job. If everything's not perfect with your kids, you don't just kick them to the curb and say, I'll get me some new kids. And that's being a man. But with this, what the portal's teaching us, well, if everything's not exactly how you want it, just bail and go somewhere else. Yeah. And I absolutely hate it, because I think that's what football and athletics altogether around has taught us. Us older guys that taught us it's not always right. Ball's not always going to bounce right, but how to handle the hard and how to handle adversity. And the portal's taken that away.
My sons played Division III soccer, so they're a little removed from that at that level. But even they have NIL there, and there is a lot more transferring going on than there used to be just a couple of years ago.
And it's made it so hard to get kids recruited too, because now the colleges are just recruiting out of the portal. They're not really recruiting high schools much anymore. So it's a whole different pathway if you're going to play college football now, unless you can start as a freshman. They said if you can start as a freshman, the D1s will recruit you. If not, you're going to go D3, you're going to NAI, you're going to go kind of like the JUCO route used to be. Right. But now it's just go D2 or go D3, play ball out for 2 years, and get in the portal and go kind of like you used to do with JUCO back in the day. But
the culture, though, that you create can help kind of attract and keep people there, I would think. I mean, at the business level, that's something we focus on, is what, if those values are clear and if you can attract people to that get what you're trying to do. And I think some football coaches and programs still lean into that and, less into the constant movement, trying to hold the team together, keep them there for the right reason.
It is. And I think in high school we can still do that. I know that OSU, talking to Mike Gundy, that was the problem there. That's where he tried to go with it. He tried to stay that. Well, it didn't work. No. And so, but high school, I told that, I said, my number one goal, because it's not to hit now we've been blessed. We've had 4 really good move-ins. So we've had a few. We have not started. We are right on the verge of kicking off our NIL program. We've been meeting, been trying to figure it out. I'm trying to navigate exactly how it's supposed to look in high school. But my number one goal is to keep our players. That's my number one goal. Keep the kids in Bartlesville. Now, we'll eventually be trying to get some others, and hopefully we can get some others from other places that want to come play, and our program gets that point. But the first thing we have to do is keep ours. Because if you looked on different rosters last year, and for the last 2 years, Chase Eves came and played for me at Pahuska. He ended up being an all-stater for me. He was from here. Jarek Edwards played for me over there. He ended up being an all-stater for me over there. The running back at Muskogee ended up being an all-stater. He was playing. The starting quarterback at Collinsville is from here. The starting free safety from Owasso last year is from here.
Really?
3 kids from here. There was 9 kids that were from Bartlesville starting on other rosters. Well, you just put those 9 kids back on our roster, it changes our team. So our number one goal, and I've talked to our coaches, is we keep our kids. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to. I've got 3 kids at Dewey, right, that have gone to Dewey that couldn't make it. They didn't want to do it our way. It's tough to make it in our program. The accountability level's high. We work out early. We expect you to be there. There's no excuses. It's no different than you're not going to let guys have a reason why they don't come to work every day or be late every day. Again, trying to create, and it happens. I'll sign off. I'm not against the kid. Yeah. I'm just not going to change our standards or how we do things. And so we've set a level now in the off season that I think everybody's seeing, because now summer pride's hit and we've got all these other sports in with us, and the other coaches are like, wow, it's impressive that your kids are never late. Your kids are how they respond. We had the spring game a few weeks ago, and somebody asked me at church on Sunday, how'd that spring game go? I didn't think it went really well, but we weren't really ready to do what we tried to do. We've got numbers. We don't have enough players, if that makes sense. So we had some guys when we tried to split teams evenly. We had a couple kids starting that aren't ready yet, and so they were going against somebody that is. So it was just a total mismatch. And so we don't have a full 2 deep where we could do that yet, but we tried to anyway. But everybody here was thrilled. Thought it was the greatest thing they've seen. We had a great crowd. The kids, the spirit was good on the field. There was nobody arguing with each other. The kids were all playing hard. Nobody arguing with coaches. Just the whole culture piece that we're working on. Everybody saw that, which in the end that will transfer to wins.
So I think the community loves that.
Yeah,
100%.
And so I get that fixed.
Loves to support the youth of this town. That's one of the
big time
in every aspect, whether you're into sports or in any sport, or ag stuff, or
the arts. Bartlesville is the most supportive community I've ever been around.
I believe.
And it's the greatest. That's why I tell people all the time. There's 5 things to win. You got to have good players. You got to have great coaches. You got to have an administration, which our administration's been top notch, doing whatever we can to try to help these kids. You got parents that are willing, and we've worked on that. We're getting our parents lined the right way, but you got to have a community that's willing to support, because it costs a lot of money to win in football. It just does. We're going to probably spend $200,000 or $300,000 this year just on equipment, uniforms, eating, just the things you have to do to compete. And I say those 5 things, you can't tell me that there's a place around better than Bartlesville, because there's not a community. Would you rather live in Bartlesville or Sand Springs? Come on now, Ponca City or Bartlesville? There's no place better to live than Bartlesville. Yeah. Our school district is better than all the ones we compete against. We've got a coaching staff that's is way above anybody else's. And now we're getting players and parents. This is going to be the spot. This is going to be the next big thing, because everybody's bought in.
Like you've got all the pieces in place, and what is your outlook for this season? What is
our goal right now? And so it's this thing I said after the guy asked me that at church. I said, so what I got to realize right now is what we have to do is be better today than we were yesterday. So that's our goal right now. So we had a really, really great workout today. We finished in the rain outside. It was just starting to rain. Went into the weight room, and the school came in and we put a new sound system in the weight room and in the indoor. So it was rocking, and the kids were in there, and it was awesome. They were getting after it. So today was better than yesterday. So we accomplished our goal today. Tomorrow we're going to a passing league tournament at Bixby. Now we're in against Bixby, Broken Arrow. We're against some Scorpions. So I don't know how many games we'll win, but I told our kids, I'm not worried about that. Are we better than we were at passing league on Tuesday? Did we not have drop balls? Did we run our routes right? Did we play full speed on defense? Did we get hands on guys?
The little things we talk about. It's always good to see how the better teams perform.
So as far as the record goes next year, I have no clue. I'm not even worried about the record. Yeah. I want to see, are we sticking to our core values, which our mantra is team, which is tempo. We want to do everything with a sense of urgency. Now, you're going to watch us. We play fast, because that's our belief is we can't control how big, fast, or strong we'll be compared to other teams. We can get better, but I don't know if we necessarily match up, but we can control our shape, and we can be in better shape than anybody. So we're going to play fast, but we want to do everything fast. We talk fast, we eat fast, we move fast, we get lined up fast, we do our homework fast, we do everything fast. So we want a tempo, we want to give great effort, have great attitudes, and do everything with positive attitude. That's a big thing for me. You talked about positive attitude earlier. That's huge for me. And then we'll be mentally tough. The biggest thing I saw on film last year was they would be in games, everything would be fine, and one bad thing would happen, and everything would just go to heck, and it would just go, everything would turn bad. It would go straight downhill. So I said, we got to learn how to go 1-0. Forget about that play. Yeah. Let's be great on this play, and move on. So the mental toughness piece is the part we've been working hard on. But if those four things are what we're pushing for, and the beauty of those four things is none of them take any talent. None of them, you don't have to be 6'5" to do any of those things. You don't have to weigh a certain amount. You don't have to bench press something. You don't have to run a certain 40. Every kid out there can do that. Every coach out there can do that. So that's the things we're pushing for, and we're going to look to get better at those things every day. And I know they will transform into wins. How many this first year, I don't know, but I know we're on the right track, and it's going to keep pushing forward.
So in your 34 years, you've built some programs. You've kind of started like this before. And what draws you to that? Why
it's kind of become my MO, I guess. I think starting off, I played at Enid High School, and we got there. We weren't great. Coach Lancaster, he's my mentor, Coach Ron Lancaster, Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
And he came in and turned it around. We won state my junior year. Should have won state, beat Booker T. They were ranked 3 in the nation, and we beat them. And then I'm going to college. I play at Kansas State. Worst football program in the history of sports. And Coach Bill Snyder comes in, my other mentor. Mm-hmm. So I've got some great mentors. Yeah. And he showed me how to turn a program around. And then when I got started, the first job out of college, Coach Lancaster just got in the Jinx job. He called me. Well, you don't think about that being a turnaround job, but honestly, if you go back and look in 1992, in the years before, they'd been 7-4. They'd been, they'd been in the playoffs, but not dominant. He flipped that to where it is what it is now. Mm-hmm. And then I ended up being at Muskogee was my first head coaching job, and they'd been bad. And we ended up going to quarterfinals, semis every year. Again, being in 6A1 made it a little tough, but turned that program around. Then went to Locust Grove, took that job, and they hadn't won a game in 2 years. And Mason Fine came in, was a freshman, and now he's back as my quarterback coach and offensive coordinator, and Jason Pirtle, my receiver coach. Those two kids came, they were freshmen. We turned that program around, went to playoffs every year, went to semis twice, and then really I probably would have I was super happy at Locust Grove. I wasn't looking to leave. Pawhuska called. And my brother and sister had graduated from Pawhuska. My parents had moved to Pawhuska when I was in college. And so I had a little background there, and they called and said, hey, we need to do something here. We were 0-10 this year. We've only got 14 kids out for football. The program's in shambles, but we got some people behind it that really want it to be good. And you had a great administration. You had the Drummonds, you had the Reeds, some people that really wanted the program to get fixed. Yeah. And my top assistant at Locust Grove had been interviewing for head coaching jobs, but couldn't get one because he had no head coaching experience. And so I said, you know what? It's in my contract that you're the next head coach here, so I'll go take another job, and you can have this one. And he did. And he went to the semis the next year. We left him a loaded stack, and his great coach, David Blevins. So then I went to Pawhuska, and we made it to the playoffs. Went to the playoffs all 8 years, been to the semis twice, quarters 3 times. But we've never won one as a head coach. And I was talking to somebody the other day. I said, but the thing people need to look at is where the program is when we started, where we've got it to where we're consistently in the conversation. Just haven't quite had the group to push over. Now, we had a couple at Pawhuska. I think we had a chance to win it. And, when you get that far, when you get to the semis, the finals, you got to stay healthy, and you got to catch a lucky break somewhere. You got to catch a break somewhere in order to get there. Like last year, we made it to the semis, and we were probably not even a quarterfinal team. But we stayed pretty healthy. We caught some breaks here and there, and we had a great group of kids that just bought in. And we didn't have any D1 kids or anything, but just a great group of kids. So, I do have a system. We've got a formula of how we do it. We're
going to be having another alert from the National Weather Service right here on K1, the one you trust. And we are following a line of showers and thunderstorms that are hugging the Oklahoma-Kansas City line. So let's take it now to the National Weather Service.
luxury.
And now we're back with our regular programming right here on K1. Once again, we do have the severe thunderstorm warning out for parts of Washington County, the northwestern part, and also the northeastern part of Osage County. We'll be watching that thunderstorm cell. Now back to Car Talk with Brad Doenges.
Well, we are just about out of time. Is there anything you need from the community now? I know you talked about needing the resources. Where are you in that, and what is it that we can do to help?
So we're getting ready to start our marketing package with the Booster Club. So there'll be Booster Club members reaching out to people. I've reworked the whole marketing package. I want to make sure people are getting something for their money. And one, we're going to put a good product on the field that's going to go towards those kids, but make sure they're getting something out of it too. So we're going to utilize that Jumbotron a lot more than it has been. We're going to do some good things. We're going to, if you want to be a game night sponsor, you get to have 20 people come on the field for pregame and then go up and have dinner up in the luxury box. Do that, plus keep 10 sideline passes too. And so we're going to do some different things to try to involve. But main thing is just get out and support. Just come to the games, cheer us on. You know, hopefully we can get them to stay past halftime. Because I will say this: watching film, even the games when they were over and they weren't supposed to win that game, I would look at the film, would show the crowd, and the crowd would be full at the start of the game. So Bartlesville is awesome. So we're going to do our job. We're going to do our piece to keep you there past halftime, because they would all leave at halftime. You look at the second half, there's nobody in the stands. But that's not, I've always said, Coach Schneider always said, this is a great one. I hope I got time to say this story. But he said, you know, we went and complained at K-State about, man, we're still not having good crowds. You know, we're working hard, and we won a game or two. And he goes, look, let me ask something. He said, if you heard a movie downtown was really bad, would you pay $5 to go watch it? We said, no, wouldn't. He said, well, you might, right? Just curiosity might. He goes, but if you went and watched it and it was really bad, would you pay $5 to go watch it again? And we said, no. He goes, well, then play better. So we're going to try to do our part too, to keep you there, keep them there, and make Bartlesville proud of this program. But I will say the culture and what they see on the field will make Bartlesville proud.
Awesome. Thank you for coming. It's
Thank
great
you, Brad.
to hear your story, and good luck next season. We really appreciate you being in our community here at Doenges Toyota. We do, and if there's anything we can do, let us know.
Well, I appreciate you, and I appreciate all you do for the community, because it's obvious how much Doenges does and always has done. So been here a long time, and
Thank you.
And that doesn't go unnoticed. So I appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
All right, Brad, where can we find you, guy?
We're at 1911 Southeast Washington Boulevard, or at DoengesToyota.com.
All right. Folks, you've been watching and listening to